so everyone familiar with parser generators? Maybe you've heard of Yak and Bison. Well, I'm here to talk to you about a new parser generator that I've written called Muskox. So, parser generators, yeah, right? Woo! They're awesome. Definite input, also yeah? Maybe. I'll explain that in a moment. So, security. We all want security, right? Security is important. But why definite input? That's kind of weird. So, here's what I'm going to explain. So, Rails has some security issues. Most of these issues that we've seen recently are due to weird inputs, like this. Someone is like, oh, it turns out Rails will take YAML inside XML, and when you do that, it will evaluate things, and that's not good. Or like this. This is what's called the billion laughs attack on XML. Turns out the XML allows you to arbitrarily expand expressions by default. So if you don't constrain the amount of memory that your parser takes, you can blow someone's server away. No, let's not do that. So frameworks don't help with these kinds of problems because they're like, oh, I'm just going to parse whatever anyone sends to me. But that's not very smart. So how do we fix that? Generate all the parsers. So Muskox to the rescue. So what Muskox is it's a schema-based parser generator. There's this thing called the JSON schema, which allows you to define schemas for JSON objects that includes like typing information and nesting and all that kind of stuff. And Muskox takes schemas in that format and produces parsers based on those. And so they won't allow you to, if someone sends you a string that doesn't match your schema, it will break at the parser, which means that if someone's trying to exploit you or they're trying to add an extra field or something like that, your app won't even see it because it will still be a string and it will throw an error. So for example, with this previous grammar, which has two properties and they're both names, if I were to grab that parser and try to parse something that's valid, it gives me back a hash like you'd expect from the Rails params. If you give it, say, a hash that has a bunch of keys that are trying to denial of service your server because they're trying to get all the hashes into the same bucket, then you get an error. And it tells you what the key was that it found that was wrong and what the properties that are allowed are. So it's based on these ideas from this part of security theory called language security. And part of that's from this idea of the POSTEL principle, be liberal in what you accept and be liberal in what you accept and conservative in what you pass out. There's this patch that's like, be definite when you accept. And that's because if you're definite, then you can't like consume things that might cause accidental problems. So if you want to get more information, you can look on my GitHub, brokebobcat/Muskox. And for more about langsec, go to langsec.org.